that would be great. We want to hear from our first timers.
Your name, your company, and about 3 words. If you do more than 3 words, I'm pulling my 3 words of what you do.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks. I wasn't expecting to be up here, so I'm glad you're here. My name is Angel. I'm with Number 6 Women. We love this Mom's Chris. And I love coffee, so that's right.
Perfect.
Hello, my name is Rose Prado. I just moved to the area and I'm a mental health counselor. Work with adults, children, families, couples, just experiencing life challenges.
Welcome, Rosie.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Summer Chase. I'm a business owner. Help somebody's nothing. We offer luxury cars that are used to. Hi, my name is Cynthia Rodriguez. I am with the Family Service Champion, and I'm just here to network with you guys.
Hey, how you doing this morning? My name is Daniel LeBron. I'm here with Central Roofing, and I'm looking to connect with realtors, entrepreneurs, people in the construction industry. We also have a construction company called CPC, and right now it's type of season where we get a lot of storms burning, so we have to help the job or connect with people who are experienced in construction.
Hi, my name is Greg Wilkins. Me and my wife handle business under the team. We do crown houses, water slides, fence tables, chairs,
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Jennifer, and our motto is start.
My name is Danny. This is my wife Candace. We got Dunbright Culinary Services. We're here to blend the prime chef world with catering for exclusive events and services that you haven't seen before, blending food. Smell chocolate mousse.
Hi, I'm Erin Faulkner. I'm
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. My name is Mark Bradshaw.
We don't care about these new members.
We only care about the
Listen, we'll get you signed up to present.
Icebreaker.
That's a lot of love.
See, you gotta appreciate Tom, guys. Tom doesn't do all that.
Way to go, Tom.
See, we don't do all these. We're the best. Oh, 20 minutes.
Experience, so I really hope you can take a lot of it today. So Digital Universe, let's jump right in. So what does Digital Universe do? We are your typical marketing company. We offer all of your normal marketing services, but really what differentiates me from, I think, some of the other marketing companies is the indoor digital billboard space. And so what an indoor digital billboard is basically a TV that gets placed inside of a business. I've done it for a lot of different businesses, so what it allows me to do is create a network where businesses of all sizes really can be seen, known, and remembered throughout the community and showcase their brand to a lot of different audiences. So what I'm asking for today is I don't have any local data yet, right? So a lot of people want to see the value based on numbers. They want to see facts. What can you prove to me that this can do for my business? I don't have that yet because my business is new and is still growing. So my question is, what would you need to see or hear in order to believe that this product works and it's worth investing in? Okay, so think about that as I go through my business. Before we get too deep into the business, let me just give you a little bit about myself, a little bit of background. After graduating college, I decided to join the Air Force, and I was given the task of being a ICBM officer, also known as a nuclear weapon operator. After 10 years of service, I decided to exit and go into the private sector, where I worked for 2 major corporations. The first one being Walmart, where I had the opportunity to, after 10 years of working for them, I had the opportunity to come to Davenport, Florida, to open up one of the very first e-commerce fulfillment centers for Walmart when they were starting to get into the e-commerce space. So I led a 1.2 million square foot facility and 450 employees for 5 years for Walmart. After getting burnt out from that job, I decided to transition over to Pepsi, where I had the opportunity to be the director of supply chain operations for the Southeast region. That was the most recent job that I had before I decided to open up my business. I am along with 2 awesome, amazing human beings. My oldest son there in the hat, his name is Dominic, he's 22, and he's actually starting nursing school next week at Lake Sumter State College, so he's really excited about that. He's actually at orientation this morning, which is why he couldn't be here. And then my youngest, who is here today, the redhead right here, does not run in the family. He is 17, he's starting his senior year this year, and he and I and a lot of other people already in the room are working with him to start his own photography business after he graduates high school. So, my passion for why I wanted to start my own business, I really want to help small business owners. I think too many times we hear stories about it's really hard to start a business, people work really, really hard to make it work, and it just doesn't, right? People end up having to shut their doors or do something else, and they invested all of this energy. So my goal is, how can I help, right? Any little bit of way that I can help people keep their business brings me a lot of joy. And then an extension of that is, as I get to know the community, how can I impact the community? And like I said earlier, the biggest thing for me has been with these networking events is getting to know people and understanding their stories, and just seeing how much of a need for greater impact we have in the community. And I want to be able to insert myself in that and help change some stories. All right, about business. So indoor digital billboards, why are they a good idea? Well, they really, with a network that I'm able to create, they provide an extensive local reach to small businesses. I try to focus on a 3 to 5 mile radius area to start putting up the billboards so that it gives businesses the opportunity to have that hyper local reach to their customers. You can't skip them, you can't pause them, you can't turn them off, you can't turn them or throw them away like you do some other forms of advertising. They really are quick to update. If there is any kind of messaging that needs to be updated, we can do that within a matter of hours, re-upload the data onto the software, and then the TVs will be playing the new information right away. They're a great cross-channel complement. So I always tell business owners, I'm not asking you to stop doing what you're doing already from a marketing perspective. I want you to think about how can you incorporate indoor digital billboards into your marketing campaigns. Because marketing is an all-encompassing thing, right? There isn't one thing that works. It's a lot of different things that work. So this is a great complement to what you're already doing. And then obviously there's a lot of high brand recall among consumers when they're seeing your brand throughout different areas that they're already interacting with. They're already eating there, they're already shopping, they're already playing in these establishments, but they're seeing your brand in various different locations. So in order to build this network, I need host venue partners, right? I need businesses to partner with me to be able to allow me to host a screen in one of their locations. Some of the benefits you get, this doesn't cost them anything. I incur all of the costs up front. I purchase the TV, I pay for the installation. All I need from these venues is electricity and Wi-Fi. That's all I need them to provide. They also get some free marketing perks, both inside and outside of their location, in the form of advertising. So my team creates 8 different ads for the venue partners that play both inside and outside of their location to incentivize them. There is some criteria that I'm looking for specifically for the locations. Obviously, we need to have locations that have high foot traffic. I'm looking for about 500 plus customers a month to be able to make it worth the while for the rest of the businesses. And then also some dwell time, so 10 plus minutes of dwell time where people have to wait or they're sitting there because they're working out or eating, spending some time in that establishment. Just to give you some background on what I'm looking for. Here's some of the businesses that have already partnered with me. This isn't all of them, but as you can see, it's a big variety of restaurants, nail salons. We have Racetrack Wheels, who does oil changes, tire changes, barber shops. So I look for about 50% restaurants or food industry, and then the other 50% to be what we call neutral locations. So that way, they're cross networking with each other from an advertising perspective. You can't have all restaurants advertising all restaurants, right? So we try to mix it up to give people that availability to be able to advertise without having to compete. So this service works, okay? Nationally, we have proven that this works. We have 5,000 screens across the country already installed, 5,000 different businesses that have screens that are doing the service. And so with that, with those numbers, we've been able to gather these statistics here. So we understand now that digital billboards are 400% more impactful than your static advertising. We know that the businesses that advertise on digital billboards have been able to increase their average ticket value by 33%, and there is 83% recall among consumers. Again, when they're going in and they're visiting a lot of different places, frequenting a lot of different places, and they're seeing your brand, if they're going to be more likely to recall that brand than if they're only seeing it once a month or once a week or once a quarter sometimes in some cases. So things I've tried to create value in this, in what I'm offering. I do a lot of networking groups, so I do try to get my business name out there. I do try to explain to people in networking one-on-ones what the business does, what it takes to become a host location, and what the value is. A lot of people tell me this is great, it's a great concept, but then they're hesitant to move forward with it, right? I have walked into establishments to try to get a hold of the owner. This has probably been the biggest challenge for me, is just trying to get a hold of the decision maker, and even having enough time to explain to them, to give them enough information for them to make an educated decision. I've emailed specific businesses, obviously very zero return on that. Nobody emails that. Requested referrals from my current clients that has worked. I have gotten a couple of new locations based on current referrals from clients that I already have. And then asking friends and people I know for direct introductions to business owners. Okay, so that's really it. Okay, sorry. Again, I don't have any local data yet. I'm building it, right? So as I continue to grow the business, I can have that opportunity to gather the data. But without that right now, what would you need to see or hear in order to convince you? We would never turn the microphone off. Oh, I was like, wait, it just sounded like it went away for a second. So who wants to kick us off with feedback for Monica and her challenge?
So let's make this work.
Well, we're gonna bring these folks down.
We don't want them anymore.
Yeah, we don't want them anymore. That was good. So we're gonna bring that back to us here. So she's talking about advertising. And I thought maybe what we could do here is talk about advertising ideas, what your challenges are, and how you advertise or how you market. 25 years ago, when my wife and I started our business, one of the things we did was we knew nobody here in town. We said, okay, we're gonna start this business. How do we find customers? We went out and bought 300 coffee mugs, just 300 coffee mugs like Steve's mug right here. Had our name, had our logo, and it had our phone number. So all we did, we said our goal was to get those 300 mugs out in front of people. And we walked into businesses, so we weren't trying to do a sales call per se, but it was an excuse to get in that door and not have them throw us out, right? And we didn't walk in trying to say, hey, I want to talk to the business owner. The gatekeeper's not going to let you in, right? They just don't, that's their job, is to keep you from bothering them. So all we did was we walked in, we had our brochure in the coffee mug, I think we threw in a couple pieces of candy, And all we did was walked into whoever's there at the front desk and said, hi, we're Networking Magic, we do IT services and website design, we're here in the area, here's our phone number, if you ever need us, give us a call. And that was it. We didn't try to do any sales pitch, didn't try to force our way in or talk to anybody. We just said, thank you very much, call us if you need us. And we spent weeks dropping those coffee mugs off. And it was a long-term play. So our coffee mugs would sit there on somebody's desk or in the break room, because that's where you put the coffee mugs, right? You put it in there, and the owner would walk into the coffee break room and see a mug. So that name at least sat there. And one day, a gal called us and said, hey, we're up the street, I've got your mug here in front of me. My boss needs new websites for his business. And I remember you guys coming in, can you come up and talk to us?
Nice.
And we did. And that customer ended up being a customer for 10 years.
Wow.
And we built a dozen websites for them. They were in the condominium building business. They built condominiums up and down the coast here. And so we did all their websites for them and ended up doing a couple of other websites for them. So that, I don't know, I think we spent probably $150 on 300 coffee mugs. And that one customer paid for well over all those coffee mugs. So does anybody else here have ideas or anything that you've done that helped your business? How do you advertise and how do you market your business? Nobody does that. Sean?
Jason doesn't do that.
Do you use the digital screens in the men's bathroom?
I don't use the digital screens in the men's bathroom, but I may have once. I have had the opportunity to have 5 different businesses that I've either owned or managed, and one of them was a real estate company, and I had that for 5 years. But after 5 careers and in my 5th career, what I found the most success I've received was networking. Whether it be playing golf through Chamber League in Port Orange, South Daytona, going to chamber events, and just repeatedly being seen.
Visible.
And always say, out of sight, out of mind. Now, we enhance that with social media right now, because, over those 25 years of working, we didn't have, when I started real estate, we didn't even have the internet. It was a book that you got every 2 weeks, and then the internet came, and you had to pivot, you had to evolve. But now we're finding that everybody seems to be on their handhelds, and their social media is very popular, and it's across all ages. I have 2 parents that are in their 80s, and they spend most of their day not watching TV anymore. They sit on their porch, and they flip through their phone. So we weren't experts in that arena at Arrow. We're becoming that with the help of a company called Placement Labs. And they did our website, and now they're helping us with social media and videos and so forth. But we're learning how to use social media and the ad content. And we were using a third party to do that at a tune of about $3,500 a month per study. And we decided, okay, what if we created our own ad and got it approved by the IRB and started advertising? We found that the same people the names we were getting from the third party we were using were responding to our ads. So we now realize, hey, we can do this on our own and get the same audience. So that's been remarkable. It's half the cost. So we had to get creative and learn how to use Canva and learn how to run ads on Facebook and with the support of our Placement Labs team and so forth. And did you know we were doing that? At any rate, but it's all works hand in hand. So I get to go out into the community. I have a team that does the marketing side of it. We have Placement Labs who does our website, and I always say it's a wide net you have to throw. Not one thing's going to catch the fish, the wide net does. But I found that being out in the community is huge. It gives legitimacy to your company. If you're not out involved, out of sight, out of mind. I I'll go back to real estate, and some of you have lived in this community for a while. There was a realtor named Rob Riley, but you might have remembered the real estate machine. He had a billboard up in Nova Road, and he had a body of a machine with his face, and he said, Rob Riley, the real estate machine. Well, what I know about Rob Riley is that he dominated the inventory. He carried 100 or plus listings. He was the listing machine. And he sold more real estate than anybody during that time. Before social media, it was billboards and stuff like that. So why not? And do a variety of different things. Like come to 1MC and meet people. That's a great way of doing it.
Jen Rogers with Just Peachy Clean. So some of the things that we have done that works, one thing is if you have not claimed your Google business profile, make sure that you do that. That's huge. But also make sure you utilize it. It's not just about claiming your profile. You have to create updates and you have to keep it current. Google wants to see you using their platform, and it's a self-serving machine. Just like Facebook. Facebook wants to see you using their platform, and the longer you can keep people on their platform, the happier they are, and the more they will rank you up. Doing blogs on your own website, a really easy, free way to get organic SEO is to do a blog using your keywords, linking back to pages in your website, linking to pages outside of your website, and having people backlink to you. So if you have friends who have businesses, make sure they backlink to you. It's a free way to boost your ranking with Google fairly easy. I mean, with the help of AI, it's so easy to write blogs anymore. But don't copy and paste. Make sure that you make it your own. The other thing we do is, because things are changing so rapidly, we're going back to just like grassroots efforts and door hangers and knocking on doors as our cleaners are out in the neighborhoods. Hey, your neighbor just loved her clean. We'd love to get you on the schedule as well. We'll be back here in 2 weeks. Call the office or something like that, because there is so much saturation with all of the social media platforms that it is easy to get lost in those. So sometimes that personal touch of actually going out there and interacting with potential clients is huge.
So in my current industry, it's a little difficult for me to elaborate on this because everything that I do goes through compliance. So for me right now, it's just a click, 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 send it off when I want to go. Previously, you have to set yourself apart, right? And I'm talking an old school approach that worked very well. In a previous company, we were highly specifically targeting a certain group. It's very niche. But it was hard to get their attention. Couldn't get their attention through social media. Couldn't get their attention by calling them. So we had this elaborate idea. What if you set something so personal they had to get it? So we were targeting CFOs, right? And we got the most expensive envelopes we could find. Nice, big, black linen envelopes. They had a little rope thing to tie it together. We put a wax seal on it. We made sure that the stamp wasn't like a bulk rate stamp on there. So we spent money to get these packages put together. But I gotta tell you, the open rate and the phone calls that those generated was insane, because it got past the gatekeeper, and it looked like something that this person should receive. So, and all it was our marketing materials on the inside. But the presentation of what they were getting was so impressive that it never was opened by the gatekeeper, but right to the CFO almost every time. And so my thing is, sometimes you have to do your blanket marketing, but also identify your targets and act like a sniper and just go at them directly and be different and do something that's out of the box that you know is going to get that person's face, whether it's through going through a channel, going through a friend, stalking them on social media, find their interest, and send something to them that is so unique that they're going to respond to what you do.
Maybe I could have used better language.
It's funny, when you hit a certain age, one of the things you get in the mail, you get ads for hearing aid companies, right? I can tell when the envelope, when I go through the mail and store, I can tell that's a hearing aid ad. And it goes right in the trash, I know it. You'll learn, for those of you who are not yet 65.
AARP.
I don't get those, I don't know, there must be another certain age it's at. Anybody else? Marketing ideas that work for you? you guys are killers at that,
Yeah,
right?
Brandon.
Right, Andy?
Put down posters in the elevator.
There, go. Tell us what you do.
Yeah, you did put me in the spot.
Tell Andy what you do.
We gotta pay for your job, sir.
Everything changes so fast. So my mindset is always not only what worked in the past, but what's going to work in the next 5 years. And if you currently aren't showing up in any of the LLMs, the learning language models, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, what have you, if you put your business in there and you're not in the top 3, it's time to truly restructure what your website looks like. And these are what they call AEOs. They're answer optimization engines. They're going to take out the work that the user has to do. In the past, you would Google something, you would research it yourself to find the answer. What they're doing now is they're going to give you the answer automatically. So if your content isn't answering the questions or solving the problems that your customers have, you're not going to show up in these systems. And these AI assistants are going to be the doorway to the internet going forward. So you have to position your business to be shown there. 2, we use what we call predictive ads. So we take the data that we have from our current customers, and we're able to use an AI model to train that model on just trends and predict who's going to need our services next. So those are 2 things that I would recommend that if we look at the real estate development in the next 5 years, we should definitely dig into.
Another thing is just taking care of your existing customers. I think it takes, I think the purpose in marketing is to gain trust, with the prospective customer to make sure, because they want to make sure they feel comfortable doing business with you, so you have to, gain their trust. And, but the thing is, we lose customers too. So that's huge, and how to not just gain their trust to do business with them, but continuing to gain their trust and listening to the customer's ideas and needs. And 'cause that's huge, because then with all our customers, the longer that we can take care of them, the better. Marketing to your existing people.
And also just a word to the wise, don't put marketing at the bottom of your list. I know everybody says that, like, oh, I don't have the marketing budget, oh, I don't have this, but that should be the first thing that you should be focusing on. And if you don't have, yeah. What's that?
Never cut marketing.
But not a lot of people understand that. And if you're not thinking of where are you sending your customer, because you're not reaching to them. Do you have your website set up now? Or not even website, Facebook page. That's a funnel that you guys should be thinking. If you're talking to this guy, hey, you should reach out to me, go to my website, go to my Facebook page, and you can find Just Peachy Clean, and you'll find all sorts of information in there. Have a place for them to go to that, to funnel your information. That's super important.
So I had a friend once who said, I want my kids to obey me. And I said, Ed, wouldn't you rather have them respect you? They will obey you if they respect you. I think sometimes we don't go for what they're doing. If you go to some of Andy's customers or any of them, you don't want them as customers, you want them going out and telling other people. You gotta shoot a little higher. Because they're satisfied customers, they're gonna do the marketing for you. You know what I mean? I think if you just go out and try to get customers, that's not high enough, Ed. You don't want them to obey you. Get them to respect you. So I think in the case of, if you're gonna go out and get customers, make sure you've got customers. They're gonna go out and do that work for you, I think. Seems to me that now you're really making, they're doing the work for you. It's kind of like your money's doing the work for you instead of just going out and making money. Make your money work for you. So that's the way I've seen working in businesses really go. Once you got a grant, then you can really work.
turn it back, there we go.
I'm Jim Cameron, and I have what's called Jim Cameron Consulting, where I used to work with Laurie and them down there at Daytona Regional Chamber. But a lot of my marketing more so is just personally showing up. And whereas a lot of people, you know, at nighttime, they like to go out to restaurants and, you know, bars and cocktails, you know, things like that. But I go to city commission, city council meetings. And, you know, I go to Sean's meeting, you know, once a month down there if I can. I was at Ormond last night, so I didn't get to make it there. I'm gonna be at Ormond, I'm gonna be at Daytona tonight. Got a little item coming up on the agenda. I've been going to those meetings 42 years, pretty much, for 42 years straight. And you see people and you get to know people though. And another thing too, it's kind of like what Andy said here, you know, you're working with your customers already, staying in contact with them. Some of the people that I represent, that I have for clients, one of the things I like to do is when I go by the bakery or whatever, I pick up, you know, some muffins or rolls or whatever like that, though something. Kind of like what you did, I mean, just, you know, in the, in the coffee room or whatever. I'll take a bunch of rolls in, whatever, and you're very much welcome, and you're very much remembered, you know, later on. And just to keep your name involved with them out there, though. But then, that's the other thing is I try to keep the newsletter and podcast, which you got one going out today, but keep that name out there as much as possible. Cool.
Terry.
Hello, Terry Kane Tyler with TCT Advantage. One bit of advice I got from Val is to brand yourself. People in the chamber knew me for 3 years as Terry Kane, till Stephen Tyler came walking in, and I became Mrs. Tyler. But now I've got my name out there, and people recognize my name, so I'm changing my TCT Advantage. It's still going to be TCT. It's going to be trust, commitment, and tenacity. So you have to go ahead and really involve yourself and make sure that you're the brand. And when somebody thinks in my business of insurance and investments, they think of me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, some people say this town is hard to market in, hard to network, hard to advertise in, and I think it's just the opposite. I think every town is tough, but what we figured out real quick was if you're talking to a potential customer, they probably know one of your existing customers because they're either married to the family, or we also learned they used to be married to the family.
Oh my gosh.
All right, anything else? We're gonna wrap up our morning. Hopefully it was worthwhile. We wanted to at least have some information discussion. We are here every Wednesday, and we want to thank Cindy Latif for being here, and Volusia County Economic Development. We're going to bring up the lights. We are going to do our photo. We're going to do a family photo.